Welcome to the next installment of the Youth Revival podcast. I'm here with two great guys, Matt and Nick from Alive Church. I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to let them intro themselves. So go for it.
Great stuff. Well, yeah, thanks for having us on, Nathan. Appreciate the invite.
Yeah, man.
So like you said, I'm Nick. I'm the youth pastor at Alive Church in Lincoln, and this is Matt.
Yeah, so I'm part-time with the Highcombe location of Alive Church, and I'm a primary school teacher on the side as well.
Yeah, so we do youth together on Friday night.
Yeah.
But we're part of two different locations, about 5 miles apart, aren't we?
Yeah, the big slogan for our church is one church, many locations. So we do everything in collaboration, work together, come together on a Friday night, do things like that, plan together, all those sort of things, but then have our individual Sunday meetings in our sort of specific communities in our areas, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Great. Matt, are you allowed to say Highcombe or is it Alive North?
No, so we're still, we're going to become at some point Alive Lincoln South. But we're not there yet.
I'll be Lincoln Central.
Yeah. So we're developing into 3 locations within sort of a 10-mile radius within the city. So we're gonna have Lincoln North, Lincoln Central, and Lincoln South. But not yet. But yeah, that's where we're moving to.
Yeah. No, that's great. And Nick is with you in your house, Matt, because he's a dirty lodger.
Yes,
absolutely.
You moved in with me and my wife in November?
About 14 years ago, yeah.
Oh, gosh. I remember he rang me on like the 3rd or 4th of November. Was like, oh, can we do it? Can we move in? And I was like, yeah, great. And in my mind, he said the 7th of December. So I had like a whole month to like get my head around it, get sorted. And then Katie said something about the fact that he heard her say about you moving sooner. So I gave him a ring and he was like, oh, yeah, no, I mean like in 2 days. And then, when were you going to move out? January, is that right?
Yeah. Was going to move out in January.
Lockdown hit, didn't it?
Yeah, lockdown.
Yeah, in January.
Yeah.
It's been what, 7 months now? It's all right. To be fair, it has been quite a blessing within lockdown, hasn't it?
So
like it's made us be able to do more stuff together for our young people. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been long.
Yeah, let's jump off that in terms of the collaboration stuff. Obviously, you're in 2 different locations, but you're running youth together on a Friday night with youth from different locations. How does that look? How do you work together? Like even big questions, who's in charge, all that kind of stuff. How do you make that work?
Yeah.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I suppose jumping off from things you said, I guess we've never really thought about like a who's in charge thing. It's always just been we like that word collaborate is the best word.
Yeah. It's always me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you take all the responsibility when things go wrong. Things break, Nick's in charge. But yeah, there's a couple of things that we had to learn real quick. Like we've been doing this for nearly 4 years together now. So little things that can become really huge if you don't do them right. So things like communicating. We had to learn real quick how each of us communicated, where our weaknesses were with that, and how we communicate best. Right. So, like for example, like if I receive a text, I'm rubbish. I don't text well. So like Nick will call me and have that conversation. I'm better with voices, stuff like that. I know that if Nick isn't looking directly at me when we're in the same room, if he's not looking at me, he's not listening. So I have to be like Nick and wait till he's looking and then talk. Little things like that. We had to learn to disagree well as well. That's been really important because we have different experiences, we have different strengths and weaknesses.
Different styles as well.
Yeah, different styles. And actually they come together really, really well. Like we've done a lot of events together now, and actually they are stronger because both our styles come together. Yeah. So we have to be able to sit in a room and say, I don't like that idea, or I don't think that'll work, or okay, that's a good idea, but we need to change it a lot to make it happen.
Just thinking about that, because I think that's really good, because I think one of the things in church life, we're not very good at disagreeing with each other. We're not very good at bringing no, I'm not sure about that. How did you make that work? How did it feel at start, but how did you how did you get to the point of making that work?
Yeah, I think we, obviously at the start, we had a few difficult conversations. I remember having difficult conversations, not just with Matt, just like as I was getting used to my role, of just like not understanding like any reason why you're doing that instead of this.
Yeah, in church.
But I think always we have to like assume the best, that person is thinking the best, that they are not doing anything or making a decision to like hurt us or to put our ideas to the back. But they're also thinking for the better of our young people and for the better of the church. So I think always assuming the best, but then also just being really honest of saying like, hey, when you said that, it made me feel really uncomfortable, or I really didn't like that. Can we look at that? And I think, I've learned massively to just be honest with how I'm feeling, because I can sometimes just be really passive and say, hey, I'll just stay quiet. I'll just like suck it up. Let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Even though inside I'm going, that is really frustrating. Why have you decided to do that? Yeah. Why are we doing this instead of that?
Yeah. In fact, we did a recording maybe 7 or 8 weeks ago, and like we maybe half an hour into the recording, we have like different sections, and we did this one section, and then I just went like, can we stop? And like, Nick gave me a right look, and I was like, I don't like how that last section went. I feel like the banter wasn't quite in the right place. And you like, no, it's totally fine.
I was like, get on with it, for goodness sake.
And I was just like, no, it just doesn't feel right for me. And so we just had a little chat about that and ended up re-recording it. And actually at the end of it, we both sort of went, yeah, that feels loads better. But 2.5 years ago, I wouldn't have felt comfortable enough to go, oh no, we need to stop and do that again. And it's happened at youth where we're presenting, because especially when you're doing things live, sometimes you can't just stop the chat, can you? You can't go, oh, that wasn't fair. Like, you've just got to run with it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sort this out.
Give us 2 minutes, we'll be back.
Like Dragon's Den, when they're just like, hang on, we're just going to go to the back of the ring.
Yeah. So you just have to kind of go through it, and then we have those conversations afterwards, and that honesty that honesty has meant that we've been able to get more vulnerable with each other and then trust each other as well, which has meant that because we trust each other, our ministry is better. I think there's a blessing in that when you work together and be honest with each other and sort of put God in the centre of that. And also I think one of the key things, I think hopefully you agree with this, is we've learned that just have fun. Like you're so much better at working together when you can have a laugh with each other as well. So we've done a lot of things where it's not work, like actually we're just having a laugh, and that made our work relationship much easier and stronger as well, I think.
And I think that's the key, really. I think we realized that a while ago, didn't we, in terms of our relationship, but then also how that affects our youth ministry. We realized that our relationship was just purely, we're talking about work 24/7, and talking about like strategy stuff and like team meetings and like preachers and all this kind of stuff. And then we realized, like our young people aren't really having that much fun on a Friday. Like, why is that? Like, it's because it comes from us. We're not having fun in our relationship, like trying to lead this. So it's not going to be fun. So we just kind of scrapped everything and went, right, let's just carve out some space where we're going to chill out, have a laugh. And that's flowed into youth ministry really well.
And like you said, it's flown into your youth ministry in terms of like the honesty, the vulnerability, all of that. Has that flown into your team then as you've modelled that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of the things, again, when we started together properly 4 years ago, we wanted to build, a team that had had ownership over it. But that would also, for us, and it certainly does now, it would include our older young people as well, key young people that are sort of grabbing hold of like our strategy and the church's vision. So we've always put a lot of value in building team and our team space before Fridays. And there's always space there for vulnerability, for prayer, for team building. But also I think that comes into the group like throughout the week as well. And that's been shown really clearly in lockdown, because we meet as a team every week at the moment. And but there's loads of conversation within the week, and we're praying and chatting for each other, but we're also having a laugh and getting to know each other even more and stuff like that. So that's been real vital, I think.
And we always leave it open to our team as well to say like, hey, if something doesn't work, tell us. Like, be honest. We want to hear that feedback. We have like it's kind of what they're about quarterly team meetings, like rhythm nights, and they're kind of ideas generation for the next sort of section of the year. And we just want to hear openly and honestly, did that work?
Yeah, totally.
What was wrong? Why was it so terrible? Why did that never work?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think creating that space between us has really come into the
one
team.
of the things that we say to the team and to each other is, and we live by it, like we completely back each other 100% in public. So when it's a Friday night or connect groups, something like that, things go wrong, we back each other, we support whatever's being said. If we don't agree with the decision, doesn't matter, we back it 100%. But then in private, in small conversations, one-to-one, that's where we're always open and free to talk about it, to open up about those discussions, to say, hey, I didn't like the way that was done, I wasn't sure about that. But yeah, as a team, we're really clear that actually there's a trust that we work together, backing each other, but we can be vulnerable and open and honest in the private space.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really strong, and I think that's what everyone would want to create. And I know, that doesn't happen just overnight. There's some battles with that. But yeah, no, like that whole thing, like I have a saying to our team, we'll come out of a meeting, and I have to hold this myself as well when I'm in meetings. Like I might have an idea, but they don't go with my idea, but I'm 100% behind whatever they went with.
Yeah.
And then even if that does fail, I'm not like a "I told you so" person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you so. I told you should have done this. Yeah, but it is that whole thing of we back each other.
Yeah, totally.
We can have those conversations in private. I think that's great. One of the things you mentioned was involving young people, and just thinking around lockdown and engaging young people, involving young people. How's that looked? How's involving young people in terms of what you're doing? How has that looked? I know I came to Alive to speak at a youth event 10 years ago. I think that was Dan Hargreaves. Big Zuko, Dan Hargreaves, and like been sporadically over the last 10 years and seen it shift. But one of the things that I noticed massively when I came last was the amount of young people that were involved in worship, in doing things. So have you created that, and what does that look like in lockdown?
Yeah, it's always been vital to us, hasn't it? Like it's part of like who we are. Like we always want young people to have like ownership over everything we do, and be brought in from the very start, not like nothing token at all. So like lockdown specifically, everything we've done from the very start was, well, how do young people engage in lockdown? How do they want to connect, and what do they actually want? So actually it wasn't a matter of, oh, here are our ideas. It was a matter of, well, what do young people want? We'll talk to them and then we'll let them create it. So one of the things we've done is we've had a lot of like Instagram TV inspirations and things like that. The majority of them have been done by young people because and like the analytics of it is that if a young person does a video on our Instagram, it's seen by 500 accounts.
Yeah.
If Nick Elliott or Matt Lofts does it one, it's seen by like two, and they're our mums. So like young people leading it makes a massive difference. And I think we've taken that from pre-lockdown into lockdown. And we did a lot generally with team and young people being involved, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we started it years ago, really, where we kind of refreshed everything we were doing when we started working together, and said, you know what, this has got to be done by young people for that exact reason, because young people engage young people better than we could ever. Like we're kind of past that in a sense. Like we have some level of influence, but like you like inviting your mate at school or talking to them, it's going to have much more of an impact than me coming to your school and inviting them.
Yeah, definitely.
So like everything from worship, like we had to go through like the initial startup phase where things are a bit clunky and awkward and no one's really that confident, to then build young people up and actually empower them to do things for themselves. So I remember like taking worship sessions like 2-3 years ago, and I'm not really a worship leader, I wouldn't say. I can do it, but that's not like what I want to focus on. I remember going and just like sitting with the band and just like asking them questions and just like getting them to play different things, and using our team as well. Like we've got a great worship pastor for Alive Youth and other young leaders who are involved in worship, who just got alongside young people and who kind of know how it goes, and just taught them along the way, and gradually they just build their own confidence. And I think now we're at a point where specifically for worship, we've got an incredible group of young people who do it completely by themselves. They don't need us anymore.
Yeah.
And they're now looking to the younger generation, to the year 7s and 8s, to go, hey, how can we bring those people into what we do? Which is just, it's exactly kind of what we set out to do at the start. So yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It's all about opportunity.
It comes from that model that we use, where it's like the we do, you watch, then we do, you help, you do, we help, and then you do, I watch sort of thing. And we constantly try and use that as a, how do we bring people in? That's team as well as young people, I suppose. Anyone that wants to sort of serve and be part of that community.
No, that's brilliant. And I think, definitely in terms of what you were saying, like young people reach young people, so important. Like I think, schools, work, clubs, all of that is brilliant. But it is going to be the young people who reach young people.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff is brilliant. And for us personally, we love it in terms of being able to serve the community, serve young people out in the community, but in getting bring fruit and young people coming in, that has all been around that young people reaching young people. You were saying, go on, Matt.
I would say, like, when it comes to like our growth, like when it's like, if you talk about the difference between like young people becoming someone who's got faith and maybe becomes a disciple compared to people coming in the doors. People come in the doors when we do big events, but young people become disciples and people of faith when they've been invited by their friends. I think we could go through nearly all of our unchurched youth that have come in. They're there because their friends invite them. Definitely.
No, that's a great point. It's great stuff. What does so I guess from some reports, you guys are bucking the trend a little bit in terms of your connect groups have grown, your small groups in youth have grown, and you've been able to engage young people in those small groups. And we were kind of chatting just beforehand, and it's interesting just hearing a few youth pastors talking, and that's been kind of an area that they've struggled with. Maybe you can just jump on that in terms of how you've engaged young people in those small groups, video calls, all of that, what we would call connect groups.
Yeah. I think, one thing we did was we kind of handed over responsibility of the connect groups that we were leading to our team. So kind of got that weight off our shoulders so that it empowers the team to pick it up and let them create stuff within it. But then also help them think about who are the young people who are like in the core group, who are there every week, who show up to everything, but then who hasn't turned up in a while. Like now this is an opportunity where everyone's in the same boat. And so I remember just talking to one of our connect group leaders and saying, hey, there's a few specific young people here. Can you get in contact with them? Because we know they haven't connected for a while. It'd be great to see them involved again. We know they haven't turned up to connect in like a couple of weeks. Like, let's throw the invite out and let's do that every week. Talk to their parents and just kind of go above and beyond really in communicating that we miss you and we want you to have like be involved in this. But I think it's all very personal from our point of view, but our team's point of view as well. It's never just the generic message that goes out to everyone into a big group. It's like specifically to a young person. Hey, like you've got something to bring here. Come and join in. Like we're gonna have a laugh. Like it's for you as well.
So every single young person that was on our database, like pre-lockdown, is accounted for in the sense that they are connected with at least one adult on our team. So we, at the start of lockdown or just before lockdown, we created these, so I'm trying to explain it right. On Fridays, we do something called Connections, where once a month, where we just split off into our year groups and we have like year group leaders, just like 10, 15 minutes. And it's really social based. It's not a spiritual thing. It's just hanging out and those year groups get to know each other. Now, because we had that in place, each of those groups that were already sort of established, and we just moved that across to Instagram. So on Instagram, we've got a year 7, 8 group, we've got year 9 group, we've got year 10, etc. And they all have leaders that they know those people really well individually, and they're communicating really well. As far as like content though, like our leaders, they're very free to kind of like do what they want to do, what works for them. Because again, like we go back to like styles, Nick and I have different styles. Well, the people on our team have different styles as well. So I can't expect the person who leads one of the sixth form Connect groups to run it the same way as someone who runs a year 7-8 Connect group, because what the young people need is different, but also their leadership styles are different. So they're very much free to do what they want to do and connect with the young people in the way the young people want to be connected. And that's worked really well. We've got one team member called Shay, who runs a younger Connect group, and she's just become like the queen of Kahoot quizzes. Like she like left, right, and centre, they're just throwing them out, and her Connect group just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So like every single week they're doing that, and they're doing like they're doing a full 40 minutes on Kahoot. And then they're doing like 20 minutes, half an hour, including like Bible study and chatting and doing all the other stuff. But they are all massively on board because she's willing to have a complete laugh with them for 40 minutes. There's another group where they all want to do silly things. So each week they have a theme. So they either dress up fancy or they dress up in costumes or do something like that. And they're all engaging. They're all turning up because they want to win the theme for that week. Now, I think if we did that for all of the Connect groups, if we said, right, this week you've all got a fancy dress, you'd have 2 or 3 Connect groups where people would be like, oh, I don't want to do that. So that Connect group would die that week. So making it individual to the Connect group has made a real difference.
No, I think that's great in terms of making it individual as well, because all those groups are very different.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing, because I think sometimes we do, especially us guys who are, overseeing it all, sometimes we think on a big scale and we think what would work for, what would be the big thing. Whereas actually, oh no, I'm going to empower, because we all want to do that. We always want to raise leaders. I'm going to empower a small group leader, to do that. Shout out to, was it Shay?
Yeah, Shay. Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, so please, if you're watching this, Shay, put your links to your Kahoot quizzes so we can nick them
Come
out.
on.
Yes.
Come on. Because we need all the help we can get in this season. No, I think that's great. And I just love that thought of just empowering leaders, so one group is doing fancy dress, the other group is doing quizzes. Yeah. In terms of the, so you say, there would be some Bible content, that kind of stuff. Are you all doing the same material, or is that free as well?
No, that's been free as well. Again, it's so the adult Connect groups for Alive, they share the same content across all of our locations Connect groups. So our Connect group leaders have access to that content, and they can apply it well. But often we found, again, it's like rather than me and Nick and I planning a whole Bible study for everyone, or even like Grace and Shay and people like that, and Tom and that going around doing their own ones. They're asking the young people what they want to talk about and what they want to learn about. So a lot of the time, like I know one group, a lot of the Bible content is Q&A. So they'll ask questions one week, and those questions will be answered the next week by their Connect group leaders who've had time to go and check out the Bible and stuff like that. So again, it's quite individualized to the group and what they might need, because what's really important as well is obviously on a Friday where we do our live show or a recorded show, at that point they're getting generic content that's for everyone, so they're kind of covering different bases of different things.
Yeah, and I think engagement as well is about are we helping our young people to enhance their relationship with Jesus?
Yeah, man.
I don't think it's ever really about our content and what we're putting out, because we could put something great out one week and there would be 3 people watching it. But like, I think the real engagement is what we can measure is, are our young people connecting themselves with Jesus?
Yeah.
And I think that's always what we want to do. And so, for us, we're not too fussy on like putting out specific set of notes every week to say, this is what we want you to focus on. If it's like building our young people's relationship with Jesus and helping them to do it themselves, then that's great for us.
Yeah, definitely. No. Yeah, and we really trust our team on that as well. We're really blessed with great team, and who are constantly building and growing themselves as well. And they take it, they love young people, they love being a part of it. So we've got a great team that enables us to do that.
Yeah, I think just a great thing for a youth pastor or youth leaders to do is just to look at who have I got in my youth ministry? What are the groups and what do they love? So they love Call of Duty, which Nick has completed. I've heard.
I've heard him lose quite a few times.
Big going, for goodness sake, I got killed again.
Yeah.
But like, they love Call of Duty, so we're gonna do something around that. This group love, like dressing up, so we'll do some theme quizzes, all of that. I think what a great just little thing to do for youth leaders, youth pastors, to just think what is going to engage these young people, even in these small groups. I think that's great.
Well, they're loving Jackbox at the moment as well. Jackbox TV, they absolutely love that, our young people.
Yeah. Jackbox TV.
Yeah, so it's like a PlayStation game, but like different, like, I don't know how to explain it.
You can enter it on your phone.
Yeah.
So like, there's one central screen that's got the question on it, then you answer it on your phone.
But it's like weird, crazy stuff, but they absolutely love it. Yeah.
Brilliant. Hey, we need all of that stuff to engage young people. No, it's so good. Just to finish kind of our conversation, and both of you can share something. If you were to just encourage a youth leader, youth pastor, just during these times, what would be kind of just a word of encouragement for them?
Yeah, I think one for me would just to be keep going with it, and try and treat it exactly the same as you would your normal ministry. It's not time to switch off. It's not a time to like disconnect, but it's a time to like just keep going and keep pushing through. But also don't be afraid to try new things as well. Like this is a great almost blank canvas. None of us have been here before, and it's a great space to try out some things that you wouldn't normally try out on a Friday night in the church building. Don't be afraid to get creative and try some new stuff out. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say like keep remembering that whole thing about being in it for the long haul. Like this season comes in waves, so you'll have a day where the young people engagement is great, or they say yes to everything you suggest, and then the next day you'll get no one like message you back on Instagram or whatever. It'll come up, it'll come down. So like don't let any of that like dishearten you. Just keep pushing through that and know that you're in this place for a reason, for a time. And that God's got you, even, in this ministry for a reason, and lockdown ups and downs won't change that. But I'd also say my big thing is I think we've talked about it, but the key is, hey, like, what is it that you're allowing young people to take ownership over to enable them to talk to each other rather than you talking to them?
Yeah, great. No, it's been brilliant to chat, and big thank you to everyone watching. And if you enjoyed this, why don't you share it with someone? Would be great to get this out, because I think just really vital in getting this into the hands of many youth leaders and youth pastors. But big thank you to Matt and Nick, and look forward to on the next Youth Revival podcast. So thanks, Matt and Nick, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. See you later.